Welcome back to the postcast following a 6-4 Senators loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Pilsy's got the chat all fired up. A lot of Bills fans in the chat, Pilsy. So I know you guys are gonna have a good one. We've also got the chicken conversation ongoing in the chat. Make sure you join
the chicken conversation. Jeez.
Hey, there's probably one comment for every chicken you have so far over the past week. All right, 6-4 loss. That's why you head to the postcast after each and every Ottawa Senators game. If you're listening to this on a Sunday, hopefully the page is turned, reset, 3 days off, and I'm calling it right now. That Leafs game's must win. Like we're not.
Ross, we're coming off a must win that they just lost. The Sens are 1-3 in our must-win games. What is this, game 10? We've had almost half the games must-wins, Ross. I don't know.
Well, I'd like some must-wins.
I think I gotta stop. We gotta stop it somewhere. But yes, Battle of Ontario, the Leafs.
Alfie thinks it's a must-win. He's fired up over there.
I'm sure you can convince me later on in the week it's a must-win. But right now, I don't want to talk about the must-wins because they've been dreadful.
The Ottawa Senators tonight got some good performances, albeit in garbage time for the most part. Although they did open the scoring for the 7th time in 10 days. Who is your number one Sens Central standout presented by the Glebe Central Pub?
Look, when times are tough, Ross must win Levitan, absolutely. When times are tough, you need to look towards the leadership. You need to look towards your captain. And sure, still a losing effort, not enough, but no issues with Brady Tkachuk's game here. I mean, he gets 2 goals. The first goal, like I mentioned, they're up 1-0. It's a patented Brady Tkachuk goal. He's in front of the net, gets a nice tip on a crispy Matthew Joseph shot. That gets things going. And then he does a great job. You got to commend Brady here because Tanner Jeannot was pissing him off. And he said, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Don't do it, Brady. Don't take the penalty. Let's get a power play here. And then he scores a beauty goal where he just whips it and it goes off the bar and in on the power play. And then to cap it off, he has a nice assist to set up Drake Batherson for a breakaway that Batherson buries. He also gets a couple of shots, a couple hits. I'm looking at the stats here. More than a couple shots. 6 shots, 3 hits, plays 21-51. I mean, if there's one thing you can look at from this game, I'm at least proud that Brady Tkachuk is the captain of this team because it's tough leading a team that's constantly a part of the wrong side of the score sheet, but he at least does it the right way. And I thought this was a classic Brady Tkachuk game and a great effort from the captain.
A lot of quotes coming in on social media about Brady Tkachuk after the game. Not pleased with the fan reaction, chanting for fired DJ Smith, booing them at certain points.
At the end of the game, they got booed off, Ross. That did not sound good. And we know for a fact Michael Andlauer is at this game. So you got to wonder what he's thinking when he's hearing that after this game. Whew.
I've got the exact quote. Shout out to Wayne Scanlon for transcribing this. Whenever you don't win, it's frustrating, and it's frustrating, the constant booing and all the bull that I was going to hit with the train there, but all the bull that kind of comes from the crowd. I understand they're a passionate fan base. I love it. But when you face adversity, you don't turn your back on the guys out there. We're playing hard. I know it's frustrating, but we're not giving up out there. We're fighting until the very end. Thoughts?
I mean, I don't really know what else Brady's supposed to say. Like,
yeah,
I don't have an issue with that personally. Now, obviously, fans probably have a different perspective, but if you're Brady, again, that's the leadership in him. Even when times are tough, he's going to say the right things and act the right way, in my opinion. So, it just sucks. That's a guy that deserves better.
Yeah, he deserves better. There's no question about that. But he has to understand that this team they're losing at home, which is something, at least at last couple of years, their problem was they just couldn't win on the road, but they'd at least show up at home. And tonight, like, there just wasn't enough guys pulling on the rope the right way. And I'm just like, we said we were going to raise the bar for this team this year. That's why I'm not letting them off the hook with injuries. I'm not letting them off the hook. I'm going back to the fact that 4 defensemen played this entire game. Like, that is just unacceptable. That's just not a way to win, especially like this is 2 games in 3 nights. And apparently there's guys who are sick. So if that's the case, you should be rolling 4 lines as much as possible and putting a structure in place that you don't have to worry about who's in it. Like, you look at Vegas is obviously a very like high end example. They've been without Alex Pietrangelo, one of the best defense in the league all season, and they're undefeated.
Injuries have never stopped that team. Like Mark Stone is constantly injured. They have injuries all over the board. They have no issue playing with third and fourth string goalies and having those guys take them all the way to the cup finals. Like, injuries may be a reason that things are difficult, but they can only be an excuse for so long. Because at that point, like Ross, last year's injuries, that was a valid excuse. You're not ready for it. Was like 8 injuries at the end. But then the Senators, they bolster their depth. They bring in AHL veterans. They bring in guys from overseas, Schmeichel, Matingpalo, Clevin's in the mix now. There's so many other options that the injuries, it can be a reason why things are difficult. I'll accept that, but it cannot be an excuse. It can't be leaned on to be like, well, we lost another one, but guys are hurt. You can't have that anymore.
It's growing old. It really is. But back to the Sens Central standouts from a 6-4 loss. I've got Claude Giroux. I think that he led by example out there tonight. I thought he was solid. He was moving around right when they changed the lines up at the start of the third period. Really started to click. I thought that he could have had a couple more assists. That great play where he feathered a cross seam pass to, I believe, Josh Norris backdoor.
It was Joseph backdoor.
Joseph, right, exactly. I thought that was a real slick play that they just couldn't finish off, and he was doing everything he could tonight. And I was surprised to see, maybe not surprised, but I was impressed with Claude Giroux's game tonight. And then Mathieu Joseph, we said it, that's our other Sens Central standout tonight. I thought his speed just makes whatever line he's on as good as it can be. So Mathieu Joseph, 1 assist, 2 shots on goal, played over 19 minutes, which has to be near his season high. I'm going to check that out actually right now. Why don't you rip off what the stats were for Claude Giroux in this game?
Yeah, Claude Giroux had a nice goal, and what a veteran play by Claude Giroux, just to be able to get lost in the play. I don't think Tampa was expecting him to kind of slide all the way up and then be wide open for a one-timer. And that's the thing. Like, Claude Giroux, I want him ripping the puck more. Like, he has one hell of a shot. I mean, he took a slap shot on a breakaway, for God's sake. Like, this guy can rip it when he wants to. So I want to start seeing some more of that from Claude Giroux. And then you mentioned it, but I'll reference it again. That smart play where he fakes that he's going to pass back to the point for Chychrun, but then he has the hockey IQ to spot Mathieu Joseph on the back door. Not only spot him, but hit him with a nice pass that I don't think Joseph was quite ready for because he can't capitalize on it. And then Claude Giroux doing what he does, doing a great job great maybe is a stretch, but a good job in the face-off dot, 8 for 15, above 50%.
Mathieu Joseph's 1904 is the most he's played in either this season or last season for the Ottawa Senators. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
I then looked back and he played more than 1904 in 3 out of the 11 games after he got traded to Ottawa. So at the end of that year, remember, he was with Norris and Tkachuk. He looked good in that short sample size. But yeah, tonight, 1904 looked good, 2 shots on goal and really controlled play while he was out there. So those are Sens Central standouts in tonight's game. Let us know in the comments who else you think deserves some Sens Central standout love. The Senators lose 6-4. We'll have plenty more on this game on Monday's Locked On Senators. If you are in the chat, stick around. If you're listening to this, then why don't you go home and turn on the YouTube or throw us on in the car, wherever, responsibly or safely, I should say. If you're in the car, don't be staring at the screen. I know Pillsy's big B on his forehead, B for Brandon, is right in front of you, but we got some After Dark coming next, so stay tuned for that. It's a 6-4 loss for Brandon Pillar. I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another disappointing edition of the POSTCAST presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub.